Most people think negative emotions are something to run from, something to hide, something to bury deep down and pretend isn't there. But here's the truth that no one tells you. Emotion is energy, and energy is power if you'll learn how to use it. You don't get rid of negative emotions by ignoring them. You don't conquer fear, anger, anxiety, or frustration by pushing them aside or pretending they don't matter. That's like hearing an alarm go off in your house and turning up the music so you don't hear it. It doesn't fix the problem. It delays the damage. Negative feelings are not your enemies. They're signals, messengers, warnings, but most importantly, they're fuel. Every emotion you feel is there for a reason. It's your body's way of telling you, wake up. Something needs attention. Something needs to change. But when you suppress it, when you push it away, it grows in the dark. It gains power over you. And soon, you're not making decisions from a place of clarity. You're reacting from a place of fear. The shift begins when you stop asking, how do I get rid of this feeling? And start asking, what is this feeling trying to teach me? That question changes everything, because now you're not a victim of emotion, you're the master of it. You're in the driver's seat. Imagine this, you're hit with a wave of anxiety. Most people go into panic. But the moment you realize that anxiety is just your system trying to prepare for uncertainty, it's not fear anymore, it's focus. Now you can channel it, you can use it. It becomes momentum. This is the essence of emotional mastery, taking energy and directing it with purpose. Think about the greatest athletes, leaders, performers in the world. Do they never feel pressure? Do they never feel doubt? No. They just know how to turn pressure into intensity, doubt into drive, anger into action. They've trained themselves to use the energy instead of being used by it. And that training is available to you, not in years, not in months, but in moments. Every time you feel something heavy, you have a choice. You can bury it, or you can breathe into it. You can run from it, or you can rise with it. And when you choose to face it, understand it, and move through it, you become unshakable. That's what this whole journey is about. You're not here to become numb. You're not here to avoid pain. You're here to build the muscle of transformation, to take the raw emotion of life, the highs, the lows, the chaos, the beauty, and shape it into strength. Because when you master your emotions, you master your life. And the first step is honoring them, listening to them, and then leading them. That's real power. That's real freedom. That's how you break the cycle. So next time those negative feelings rise up, don't suppress them. Don't run. Stand tall. Look them in the eye and say, I hear you, I see you, but I decide what comes next. That's the moment you stop reacting and start creating. That's the moment you take your life back. We live in a world where we constantly feel overwhelmed, pulled in 100 directions, and distracted by everything but what truly matters. And in that storm, our emotions get hijacked by stress, by doubt, by fear. But what if I told you that just 1 hour, a single intentional hour each day, could change everything? That's the 1 hour rule. 1 hour where you stop reacting to life and start creating it. 1 hour where you reset your system, refocus your mind, and rewire your emotions for power, not pain. Let's be honest. We all have 24 hours, but most people live like they're on autopilot. They wake up already behind, scroll their phone, check emails, rush through the day, and crash into bed wondering why they feel unfulfilled. That cycle becomes their identity. That cycle becomes their story, and that story becomes their prison. But here's the truth. You don't need a perfect life to feel powerful. You need a powerful ritual, a daily space where you reclaim your energy, realign your thoughts, and reconnect with who you truly are. That's what this hour is for. Not for the world, not for your job, not for your obligations. This hour is for you. Break it down. The first 20 minutes, move your body, get your blood pumping. Doesn't matter if you walk, run, dance, stretch, just move. Because motion is the fastest way to shift emotion. You can't stay stuck when your body is alive. You can't hold on to anxiety when your heart is open and your lungs are full of breath. Your physiology is your first gateway to power. Use it next 20 minutes. Clear your mind. No phone, no noise, just you in silence, or maybe journaling, deep breathing, or meditation. This is where you listen. This is where you get honest with yourself. You can't create clarity in the chaos. You need stillness. Because in the quiet, your real answers show up. You begin to hear the truth beneath the noise, the part of you that knows you're made for more. And then the final 20 minutes, Feed your mind. Read something that lifts you. Watch something that empowers you. Practice gratitude. Visualize the life you're building, not the life you're stuck in, the life you choose. This is where you rewire, because the brain doesn't just learn from what's happening around you. It learns from what you give it every day. You want to feel powerful? Start feeding your brain thoughts of possibility, not limitation. Start giving it direction instead of letting the world program it for you. That's the 1 hour rule. 60 minutes to reset your nervous system, to refocus your attention, to rewire your identity. It's not a hack, it's a discipline. It's a decision you make every single day to lead your life instead of be led by your emotions. And when you show up to that hour consistently, something incredible happens. You stop waiting for permission to feel good. You stop depending on the outside world to dictate how you feel inside. You take control. You step into certainty. And here's the secret. When you do this enough, that 1 hour starts to shape the other 23. You walk different. You speak different. You respond instead of react. You become the calm in the chaos, the leader in the noise. It's not about having more time. It's about making time count. 1 hour every day. It's the rule. And that rule will change your life. You want to change how you feel? Start by changing what you do with your body. It sounds almost too simple, but it's one of the most powerful truths you'll ever learn. Motion creates emotion. Your physiology is the master key to your emotional state. Every thought, every feeling, every decision you make is influenced by the way you move, stand, breathe, and carry yourself. Most people try to think their way out of a bad mood. They sit still, overanalyze, replay conversations, question their worth, and sink deeper into the feeling. But that's not how your nervous system works. Emotions don't live in the mind alone. They live in the body. The body tells the brain how to feel just as much as the brain tells the body how to move. If you want to change your state, you can't just think about it. You got to move. Look at someone who's depressed. You don't even need to hear their story. You can see it. Shoulders slump, head down, shallow breath. Their body is in the posture of defeat. And what happens? The brain receives that signal and says, we're in trouble, we're unsafe, we should shut down. But flip the script. Stand tall, breathe deep, pull your shoulders back, look up, and move with intensity. You send a very different signal. We're alive, we've got this, we are ready. It's that fast, that real. You don't need permission. You don't need a miracle. You need motion. Get up, jump, stretch, run. Dance like a maniac in your living room if you have to. Within seconds, your chemistry shifts. Blood flows, endorphins fire, your nervous system lights up. And suddenly, what felt impossible a few minutes ago doesn't seem so heavy anymore. Why? Because your body broke the pattern. We are creatures of habit, and our emotions follow the patterns we reinforce. If every day you wake up and move like someone who's tired, stressed, and defeated, you train your system to feel exactly that. But if you train yourself to wake up and move like a warrior, with energy, with intensity, with passion, your emotions rise to meet your movement. And this isn't some feel-good philosophy. This is biology. This is science. The fastest way to shift your internal world is to ignite your external one. That's why elite athletes, performers, leaders, they all have rituals that involve their body. They prime themselves, not by accident, but by design. They know they can't afford to wait for motivation. They create it with motion. You've probably felt it before. You were dragging, low energy, stuck in your head. And then you hit the gym, took a walk, jumped in a cold shower, or danced to your favorite song, and boom, everything changed. Not because your life changed, but because you changed your physical state. That's the leverage point. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment. You create the moment through action. So when those negative emotions creep in, and they will, don't let them anchor you. Interrupt the pattern. Break the loop. Use your physiology like a weapon. Move your body with purpose. Breathe with intention. Speak with strength. Because the way you move is the way you live. The way you breathe is the way you lead. And when you take control of your body, you take back control of your life. Every day you get the choice. Stay stuck in the feeling or move through it. Energy isn't something you hope for. It's something you generate. So move first, shift first, then watch as your mind, your heart, and your entire life begin to follow. Your life is controlled by what you choose to focus on. That's the truth, whether you realize it or not. Every emotion, every decision, every breakthrough or breakdown you've ever had came down to this one principle: where focus goes, energy flows. Whatever you put your attention on consistently, you magnify. You feed it. you empower it. If you focus on what's missing, you feel lack. If you focus on what's wrong, you feel fear, anger, frustration. If you focus on what you can't control, you feel helpless. And before you know it, your emotional state is hijacked, not by what's happening in the world, but by what you've chosen to see in the world. Because focus is a filter. It determines what your brain notices and what it ignores. And your brain is always listening to where you point it. Let's be clear, everyone experiences pain. Everyone gets hit with problems, challenges, setbacks. But two people can live through the exact same circumstance and come out with completely different emotions. Why? Because they focused on different things. One focused on what was lost. The other focused on what could be learned. One focused on fear. The other focused on possibility. The circumstance didn't shape them. Their focus did. And this isn't just philosophy. This is how your nervous system functions. Whatever you consistently focus on becomes the dominant voice in your head. It becomes your reality. Your emotions respond to it. Your behavior follows it. And over time, your identity wraps itself around it. You become what you focus on, whether you like it or not. So if you want to change your emotional life, you don't need to control every situation. You need to control what you look at in the middle of it. You need to take charge of the lens you're using. That's power. That's ownership. That's the difference between people who live in reaction and people who live by design. You ever notice how when you're obsessing over a problem, the problem gets bigger? You find more reasons to feel overwhelmed, you spiral. But the second you shift your focus to solutions, to action, to gratitude, to purpose, suddenly there's space to breathe. Suddenly there's a path forward. That didn't come from the outside. That came from you shifting the spotlight of your mind. You always have that ability. In every moment, no matter how chaotic or uncertain life gets, you can ask, what am I focusing on right now? And is it serving me? That single question can interrupt the whole cycle. It can flip your emotional state like a switch, because energy is not about what's available. It's about what you access. And you access it by focusing on what fuels you. Want to feel more peace? Focus on what's in your control. Want to feel more joy? Focus on what you already have. Want to feel more power? Focus on what you can do, not what you can't. Train yourself to find the empowering meaning in every situation, and you'll start to feel empowered, no matter what's happening around you. This is a discipline. It's a habit. Just like a muscle, your focus gets stronger the more you train it. And the best part, you don't need to wait. You don't need a course, a coach, or a perfect plan. You need a decision right now to shift the spotlight of your mind from what drains you to what drives you, because your energy follows your attention. And if you want to live in a powerful state, a resourceful state, a courageous state, it starts with what you choose to focus on every single day. Every one of us has a story. It's the voice in our head that tells us who we are, what we can and can't do, what we're worthy of, what we're capable of, and what's possible for our future. And for most people, that story was written a long time ago by pain, by fear, by failure, by someone else's opinion. But here's the truth. Your story isn't who you are. Unless you let it be, the real question is this: who's in charge? You or your story? That voice in your head that says you're not enough, that you're broken, that your past defines you? That's not you. That's the echo of old experiences. That's the program running on repeat, playing back every disappointment, every rejection, every setback like it's still happening. But you are not your past. You are not your pain. You are the one who can rewrite the meaning. Most people don't even realize they're trapped inside a story. They think their emotions are facts. They think because they feel stuck, they are stuck. Because they've failed, they are a failure. But those are just interpretations. In any moment you choose, you can rip that page out and write something new, because the pen is and always has been in your hands. You've been through hell? Good. You've survived it. That makes you stronger, not broken. You've been abandoned, betrayed, left behind. That's real, that hurts. But it also means you learned how to stand up by yourself. You've doubted yourself. Welcome to being human. But doubt doesn't disqualify you. It challenges you to grow. Every part of your story that you think disempowers you has the potential to empower you if you decide to shift the meaning. You want a new life? Then you need a new story. And that starts when you decide you're not going to be defined by the old one anymore. It starts when you stop rehearsing your limitations and start remembering your strength. You've been through things that would break most people, and you're still here. That's not weakness. That's proof of who you really are. When you take ownership of your story, something powerful happens. You stop reacting to life and start creating it. You stop waiting for circumstances to change and start changing the way you show up, no matter the circumstances. You stop identifying with the victim and start identifying with the warrior inside you, the part of you that never stopped fighting, never gave up, even when everything told you to. And that decision, that's not some magical once-in-a-lifetime moment. That's a choice you make every single day. You wake up and you decide, I lead this life. Not my fears, not my failures, not the story that says I'm not good enough. Me, you are not here to relive your history. You are here to create your destiny. But you can't do that if you keep handing the pen to the past. Take it back. Look that story in the face and say, you get a lead anymore. I do. Because when you decide who's in charge, you stop living in the loop and start living on purpose. This is where change begins. Not with better circumstances, but with a better decision. The decision to lead yourself, to define yourself, to rewrite the script. That's how you break free. That's how you rise. You don't need to wait for life to hand you a new chapter. You write it, you speak it, you live it right now in this moment. You decide. We all want transformation. We want to change how we feel, how we think, how we act. But most people are chasing the feeling of change without committing to the process of change. And here's the unshakable truth. Repetition is the mother of mastery. It's not what you do once that shapes your life. It's what you do consistently that carves out who you become. You can read all the books. You can attend the seminars. You can have the breakthrough moment, the fire, the aha, where everything clicks. But none of it lasts unless you rehearse it into your nervous system. Mastery doesn't happen in inspiration. It happens in repetition. That's how habits are built. That's how beliefs are reinforced. That's how identities are formed. Repetition conditions the mind, conditions the body, and conditions the soul. Think about it. How did you learn to walk, to talk, to drive, to read? You didn't just understand it once and become an expert. You practiced over and over. And even when you failed or stumbled, you got back up and did it again. That same formula applies to your mindset, your emotions, your rituals. You don't become confident by reading about confidence. You build confidence by doing the thing you were afraid of again and again until your brain starts to say, I can handle this. People say they want to feel strong, focused, grounded, fulfilled. That's great. But if your daily actions don't match that desire, then it's just wishful thinking. Real change comes from conditioning your nervous system. That means choosing the same empowering focus, the same state, the same language, the same rituals, day after day, until it becomes automatic, until it's who you are. That's why the most powerful people in the world have routines. Not because they're rigid, not because they're perfect, but because they understand this. Repetition builds momentum, and momentum creates identity. When you repeat something enough, it stops being a task and becomes a trait. It's no longer I meditate, it becomes I am centered. It's no longer I work out, it becomes I am strong. You literally train your mind and body to expect greatness because you've practiced it. This isn't about grinding for the sake of it. It's about aligning your actions with your outcome. It's about asking yourself daily, what am I reinforcing right now? Because every thought you think, every emotion you allow, every pattern you follow, you're installing it. You're saying, this is what I value. This is who I am. And if that pattern doesn't serve your future, it's time to interrupt it and replace it with intention and with repetition. And yes, it's going to feel uncomfortable at first.